Hello and welcome to Creator Weekly for the 2nd of November, 2025. I'm Peggy Kay. And this week was Adobe Max and Canva had a big event. So there's tons of updates. I'm not going to cover them all. If you want all of this week's updates and news, be sure to check out this week's newsletter. There's a link in the video description. And of course, subscribe to get the news in your inbox every Saturday. So I've got updates from YouTube, Patreon, Google Search Threads, in addition to Adobe and Canva. Lots of news today. And I will get started first with some updates from YouTube. Every week, there's updates from YouTube. They never end. So this week, YouTube announced new features to improve viewing on big screens. That is the television in your living room. They call it, living room watching, television watching. This is not YouTube TV, which is a separate subscription. This is watching regular YouTube on your TV. I imagine some of you are doing that right now. So they want that to look better. And what they're doing is allowing bigger imagery, right? So the first thing is the maximum size for thumbnails is increasing from 2 megabytes to 50 megabytes. That way they can be 4K thumbnails. And the big update that I think a lot of people are talking about is they're talking about AI-powered upscaling of lower resolution videos to high definition. Now, in this example, in the announcement, they're showing 240p videos. That would be old and really low resolution, scaled all the way up to 1080p or HD. But YouTube is actually going to start with SD videos at 720p, upscaled to HD, which is not such a huge jump. I'll note that this is somewhat controversial because AI upscaling doesn't always work great. Sometimes it adds artifacts or looks weird. So there are now settings in YouTube Studio on desktop where you can turn off YouTube's quality enhancements. There's actually a bunch of enhancements that YouTube may do. There is visual enhancements. That's the AI upscaling, what they call super resolution. Also brightness, color, sharpness, clarity. And then there are audio quality settings that include volume, sound mixing, like making dialogues stand out more, and something they call stable volume, which sort of evens out the volume across the whole video. So if there's really loud and really quiet, it kind of balances those out. The thing is, sometimes those are creative choices. The automated changes may not look quite right or sound quite right. So you can disable this in your settings. This is in YouTube Studio on desktop. You go to your settings for your channel. It's under the advanced settings and you can turn it off there. So that's something you should check. The next thing that they talked about on TVs is having immersive previews. So what we're looking at here is if you're kind of browsing through channels on the home screen in the YouTube app on your TV, you now see an immersive preview. It doesn't show here, but it's actually a video clip that plays as you go through channels. It's very much like Netflix encourages people to click. So let's see. Andrew says, I wish there was a way to prevent anyone from doing anything to a video I upload anywhere. Well, first of all, you can change the setting that I just referred to, so YouTube won't try to enhance your videos. But I think that that is actually not possible because all platforms, they take the video in, and there's a sort of a complex process where they process it and they have outputs at different resolutions, different format types. And so it's not possible to upload somewhere and not have it changed at all unless you have your own website. And then you might see why they actually do that. It's good, though, to have controls so people can do it. The other updates for TVs, if you do a search from a channel, now results from that channel are at the top of the search. You would think it would work that way already, but apparently not. And that makes it easier to find videos on someone's channel. And then if you go to a video with shopping, if there's tagged items for shopping, there's going to be a special QR code. You can scan that with your phone and then go to the product page. So if you're watching on TV and you can't click, obviously, on the TV, you can still buy stuff. Buy. Shopping is apparently very popular. So this is an important thing. One of the big updates this week from YouTube also is that they're making stricter policies around online gambling and graphic violence in gaming. There's already policies around this. This is actually expanding those policies. For online gambling, it's currently only permitted to direct viewers to online gambling sites that are certified by Google. This is something done through Google Ads. Now they are expanding this policy to include online gambling with digital goods. That's like video game skins and NFTs, if anyone's out there actually getting NFTs anymore. This also has an update for social casino content. These are casino sites where no real world money is exchanged, but it's still gambling. And so those will be age restricted. And then the big change is about graphic gaming content. YouTube will now age restrict video game content featuring realistic human characters that focus on scenes of torture or scenes of mass violence against non-combatants. And in terms of enforcing this policy, they consider how realistic the characters look, the duration of the graphic scene, and the prominence of the violent imagery. This probably won't affect most people, but there are apparently scenes in games like Grand Theft Auto 6 that might fall into this category. So this change goes into effect on November 17th. That gives creators time to update their descriptions if they're linking to sites. You can trim out or blur content in your videos, but when this goes into effect, your existing videos could actually then be age restricted or even removed, depending on how they might violate the policy. So, got to keep up with these things, but overall, violence, have less of it. Okay, so the other small update from YouTube is that in live streams, there's a top fans leaderboard. If you're watching this live, you can probably see a link to that at the top of the chat. And if you're a viewer, a chatter, you can go into your YouTube settings and opt out of appearing on the leaderboards. But up until now, streamers couldn't turn it off. Now you can. So you can go into the details for a scheduled live stream. You can see there's a leaderboard setting. You just unclick the check mark. You can also turn this off in the live control room on desktop. So I can imagine in some cases, this might encourage bad behavior of people in the chat trying to get on the leaderboard. It you get points from like chatting, from super chats, other kinds of engagement. So this is what YouTube announced. There's also a big related video, related update from Adobe, and I don't know why, but for some reason the slide is not loading. Let me try to fix that. I'm not sure why that's not working correctly. All right, that looks good now. So this is, I think, a great update. I love having options for video editing. Adobe announced that the Premiere mobile app for iPhone is getting integrations with YouTube Shorts. It will have exclusive templates, effects, transitions, stickers, and title presets. And you can export from the Premiere app into YouTube directly. Also in YouTube Shorts, apparently there will be an edit in Adobe Premiere button. And unlike Adobe Premiere for desktop, that's a high-powered video editing platform, the mobile app is totally free. There's some things you need to pay for if you want the AI things, but mostly it's free. This is free. It's currently only for iPhone. You can use this QR code to download it and install it. If you use Android, you can pre-register for the beta. Hopefully there'll be an Android version available soon. But I think this is kind of a neat thing. Lots of options for video editing for free on your mobile device. The downside of that is that you don't have a very big screen, though. So for folks like me with less than perfect eyesight, it's not great. Also, you need nimble fingers. Adobe also announced that Firefly is now an all-in-one AI creative studio. It has video, audio, image, and design tools, and you can use the Firefly AI model, but it also can give access to partner models from other companies. It includes Google models like Nano Banana and Veo for video. It has OpenAI, Luma AI, 11 Labs, and Topaz Labs, maybe some other platforms as well. So the Firefly app is free to use, but you may not have access to all the tools. And the kinds of things that it has in the app, brainstorming, mood board things, you can generate a soundtrack, you can generate a voiceover, you can use an enhance speech option to clean up background noise. You can generate sound effects. There is video generation from a description or from images. You can prompt to edit images, layered image editing, which means that you can use AI, but it's in layers, so you can adjust it more easily. And then there's something called Project Moonlight. This is a conversational AI that suggests new content based on what's resonating in your social channels, and it can go through multi-step tasks. So that sounds interesting. If you're into generative AI tools, you might give the latest Firefly app a try. I think that Adobe limits what you actually can use. There's like you get a certain number of credits with a free account, and then once those run out, you can pay for more. So, it's free to start, not free to use continuously. More video editing. Google Photos is rolling out video creation templates in the Android and iOS phone apps. It's not available on tablets. uh, these templates are basically prepackaged videos. So they have the clips, the text, trendy music, and beat matching. So the clips, change to the beat of the music. You pick a template, you can then choose photos and videos to add, or you can use the Help Me Select option, and Google Photos will suggest clips and photos to use. The only thing that makes me hesitate a little bit is that Photos isn't good at explaining the licensing of the music they use. So you have this trendy music, and if you export the video and upload it to Shorts or Instagram Reels or TikTok or something, if the music isn't licensed there, you could end up with a claim. I had that happen once with a video I made in Google Photos, which was not great. So that's something to bear in mind. TikTok. AI video editing tools. TikTok has something called Smart Split. This is in TikTok Studio on the web. It will make clips from your longer videos. So that's the smart splitting part. That seems really useful. And then there's something called AI Outline, which has basically a brainstorming tool. It generates video titles, hashtags, hooks, and outlines from a prompt or from highly searched topics in Creator Search Insights. The outline can be customized. This tool is only available in the US, Canada, and maybe a few other select markets. So those are all the video editing updates this week. It seems like we're getting new tools every week, which is pretty cool. But I'm going to switch gears here and talk about the big announcement from Canva. Affinity is a suite of professional graphic design, photo editing, and page layout tools. And Canva acquired Affinity last year. So up until now, there haven't been any big updates, but big announcement. They redesigned Affinity, and now it's free for everyone. So that's pretty neat. Just scrolling up. So what is Affinity like now? It has all the professional vector, photo, and layout tools in one app, basically. So instead of 3 standalone apps, they're all together now. You can make these fully customizable studios to mix and match the tools you want to use. And of course, since this is Canva, there's Canva integrations. If you are a Canva Premium subscriber, you can access Canva AI Studio inside Affinity. This says that it is not used for training AI features. So your content should not be used for training AI features. There's more information on the website about these AI tools. And then, of course, you can export your Affinity projects into Canva directly. Apparently, this is one of the big benefits for Canva, getting professional graphics designers to be linked into the Canva ecosystem. This is available for Mac, for Windows, and soon for iPads. It's totally free, except you have to have a Canva account. So you can have a free Canva account. You need to use that to sign in. Some folks are not happy that it's no longer a standalone platform that you purchase and install and you can keep it forever. Instead, they're going the subscription route. Not surprising. Jolyn says, I've used Affinity for a number of years, downloading the new Affinity by Canva right now. Nice that it's free rather than another subscription. Yeah, I think it is nice. I think a lot of people are skeptical that free is free. Of course, this is a business decision that benefits Canva. That's the way it works. But my impression is that this is supposed to drive Canva subscriptions for more tools there. They're kind of using that as an entrance. And, Affinity is a competitor to Adobe's Photoshop and InDesign and so forth. Canva announced a bunch of things. Of course, most of them are AI tools. See this week's newsletter for all the details, but I wanted to point out specifically that there's an updated video editor in Canva. It has a new timeline editor, something called AI Magic Video that can create video from clips. I think you need a paid subscription for that. And there's new templates. So again, more video editing options. And of course, I'll mention really quickly, nothing in life is free. Canva wants people to pay for subscriptions, and they pulled a switcheroo. They had a Canva Teams subscription that was apparently $100 per person per year, but you had to pay for 3 seats. So that was for like small businesses where you could pay $300 for 3 people. And the switcheroo is that instead of Teams, there's now a business subscription. You don't need to buy 3 of those, but those are $200 per year per person. That doubles the cost for a lot of small businesses, which sucks, honestly. The Pro plan is for individuals. It has a lot of the same features, except for not the team features. So nothing is, what is the phrase? There's no such thing as a free lunch. All right, and then quickly, Patreon is going all in on newsletters. This sounds like competition with Substack. And what they announced this week is improved no-code layout editor. You can include multiple video and audio clips, custom call to action buttons, so linking to your shop or to selling tickets. And you can have these flexible previews, so your free patrons can get a little taste of the newsletter, and then the rest is for paid subscribers. And then there's more email metrics. Feels like we're really getting a convergence. These newsletters are on the creator's Patreon page, like posts. So we're getting this convergence. It's like blogging and email newsletters and social features all together, and these competing platforms. The trick is you get locked in. If it's just an email newsletter, you might be able to move that to a different platform. But if you're using all these other social features, maybe not. So that's where it's heading. And then a quick note that in Google Search Console, they've introduced something called query groups. This is if you have your own website or blog, you want to see how people are coming from Google Search to your site. This groups together queries with similar intent. So like in the example they use, it's like there may be how to make guacamole dip, and other people look for a recipe for guacamole dip, and other people look for guac dip recipe. Those are clearly all looking for a recipe for guacamole, but they're not exactly the same. Now, Search Console will group those together to make it easier to understand what people are looking for when they go to your site. You can click on the query group, and then it will break it down by individual queries. And you can see what's trending up, what's trending down, and all the details. So I think that's really useful. And then the final thing, Threads launched disappearing posts. These are ghost posts. They're archived after 24 hours. And if people reply to them, it's sent as a direct message rather than shown as a comment. And they're kind of using it as a status update. It will show on your profile. There was a problem with these posts being indexed by Google. They apparently fixed that. It's not great to have it disappear and then the indexed post in Google lasts for years. And then Threads also lets you hold replies to your posts for approval if you get a lot of trolls or, you know, spammers or whatever. You basically just set it to hold the replies for review, and they won't appear publicly under your post until you've reviewed them and approved them. So that's a lot this week. All right, quickly, what was happening 10 years ago this week? Again, this is me celebrating 10 years of Creator Weekly, and wow, the year's almost through, but so 10 years ago this week, Twitch Creative launched. Twitch originally launched in 2011. It was a streaming platform specifically for gamers, but they noticed that there were artists and crafters and builders and other creative types who were also live streaming. So in October of 2015, Twitch Creative launched with a dedicated landing page for the creative category. They celebrated this with, like, you know, a marathon of Bob Ross video live streams. That was kind of fun. And this was not the first non-gaming category. Way back at the beginning of 2015, Twitch added an official category for music streams for musicians. And interestingly, at the time, they reassured users they were still focused on gaming, where they say you'll see the same front page in directories. You can interact with these streamers, but really, gaming will always be our core focus. That's what Twitch said in January 2015. Now, 9 months later, in October, they didn't give that reassurance, and it really felt like maybe they were trying to embrace these other types of live streams. So since 2015, there have been a lot more non-gaming categories added. In 2016, they added the IRL, or in real life category. That was meant to include vlogging and chatting. And then when they launched mobile live streaming, that all went into IRL, in real life. In 2018, Twitch removed the creative and IRL categories and replaced them with 10 new, more specific categories: art, makers and crafting, food and drink, music and performing arts, beauty and body art, science and technology, just chatting, travel and outdoors, sports and fitness, tabletop role-playing games, special events, talk shows and podcasts, and ASMR. So these categories were added to the browse page. And again, it seems like Twitch is really embracing non-gaming content. So if you go today, there's even more categories. You can choose to browse those categories for both creative and IRL streams. Pretty neat, right? So you can go to Twitch, you can stream anything you want. But interestingly, in 2024, in the year-end roundup, the top non-gaming categories were just chatting, special events, and sports. So people like chatting. It's not a specific category beyond people just talking with their fans. And there are some extremely popular streamers on Twitch that essentially have talk shows about politics or like their other things. So these are popular, but the reality is gaming still dominates Twitch. You can see that's the purple on this graph there. The hashed part of it is gaming live streaming content. And so if you look overall, streaming on YouTube and TikTok overall is much more popular than on Twitch, but Twitch still leads gaming streaming, although YouTube looks like it's catching up. So it's not clear to me that Twitch will ever be able to fully expand beyond gaming because it's so integrated with the platform. So thank you everyone for joining me today. It's great to see you all in the live chat. I appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts. I hope to see you all next week. There's going to be a redirect to another live stream on eBoard where you're going to see 3 tips in 10 minutes. My tip, just to give you a preview, is about these new settings for visual and audio enhancements in YouTube. The others will be interesting as well. Again, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you